There are many things that we have done to each other that were not nice. And Neil Young is an unbelievable musician. And I both respect him and dislike him for the same reason. And it's this. Neil Young is completely dedicated to his music. To the point where if he doesn't feel it, it's not going to happen, right? So let's say you want to book a tour of Europe, and you get your crew of 30 people, they all rearrange their lives, they all get ready to go, and a week before Neil says, nah, I'm not feeling it, and we're not going. That's okay for Neil, and God bless him for following his muse so strongly. But there are other people involved. That's the part that pisses me off. Is the fact that, you know, if you're going on tour and you're going to go and you don't go, it's hard to get a job because everybody else has been booked for the summer tour, right? You know, so all these 30 people have got no jobs, right? And they've got mouths to feed, they've got people to take care of. And so I was explaining this to Neil, and that's what he thought was a pile of shit. My lunch with Neil could not have gone better. Obviously, he hasn't read the book. But we talked about getting back together. Now, we haven't performed together since 2006 when we did the Living with War tour, you know, with Neil. But we're going to work with him in, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks at the Bridge benefit in you know, just south of San Francisco. Neil and Peggy have had for, I think, the last 27 years, an organization called The Bridge, which deals with children with special needs, you know, that can't move any part of their body. But if they can move anything at all, then they're developing technology to help them, you know, access a computer and keep their eye on a certain letter for so many seconds, and that letter appears on the screen. And we did the very first one. We have done 5 or 6 since, and we're going to do the one in October. Now then, I know Neil. This is not all that he has in mind, because he realizes that the music, here's what's going on. I'm 11 mixes from the end of a 40-song, 3 CD, possibly 4 CD box set of Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young from 1974. We did 31 shows. Half of them were in stadiums, and the other half were in gigantic indoor basketball arenas. The average audience was about 70,000 people. You try singing Guinevere to 70,000 people. Oh, we tried it with 500,000 people. Yeah, it didn't work then either. But it was Neil was unbelievably friendly to me. Not because he wants anything, because he is a friend. We differ in terms of how we want to go about our lives, but he's a dear friend, and I think Neil Young would be there for me if ever I was in trouble. There's no doubt in my mind that Neil Young would be there for me if I needed him. So the lunch this week was incredible. One of the things we talked about is that in 1974, there was no video aid when you go to a sports game. Right now, in the center with those 4 screens and flashing lights, there's video all over the place. But in 1974, nobody ever did that, except one place at the Capitol Center in Maryland. And they had just set up video assistance for sports games. So they filmed us for one night. Oh. Now then, it's the line cut, so there's nothing we can do about it. There's no different camera angles that we could cut to if I'm picking my nose or whatever it is. And Neil, when I first showed it to them about a year ago, was not happy at all about it. Because in his mind, I think he went back to the moment when we were all totally fucked up, you know, and it makes him uncomfortable. So when he sees the video of that time, that's what he feels like. Me, I don't care. It's 40 years ago, right? Let's get over it. Historically, it's very important in a musical world. This is not Beethoven, it's not Mozart, it's rock and roll, right? So, you know, depending on how you feel about how important rock and roll is, which, you know, I happen to think that it would be most unusual. And you know what? I wish I was going to be alive for another 100 years. I'd like to know what people are going to think about the 60s in 100 years' time. It'd be very, very interesting. Anyway, my point is that I doctored the videos, I cleaned them up, I re-showed it to Neil, and now he loves them. So we're off and running. And in my perfect world, and I have no idea whether this is going to happen at all, I would love CSNY to go out in 2014, 40 years, and play some incredible old music and some incredible brand new music. I think that we've got a long way.